Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Welcome to Midday Prime. In the next 1 hour, we bring you all the stories and updates from India and across the world. Focus on developments related to the pandemic. As the second wave subsides, states are now gradually relaxing lockdowns. WHO has announced fresh nomenclature for COVID variants. This is to dissociate name of variant with any particular country. In other news, BRICS Foreign Ministers meeting scheduled for later today. In weather update, monsoons are almost here. All that and much more. First, the top stories. India reports lowest number of new cases in 54 days with 1.27 lakh new COVID cases. Recovery rate goes past 92%. Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra introduce partial unlock as the second wave marks a consistent declining trend. Largest commercial consignment of Sputnik vaccines arrive in Hyderabad. Centre reviews progress of vaccination with states and union territories, enumerate ways to speed up vaccination as dose availability is set to increase in June. Over 2 crore doses given in age group 18 to 44. Current BRICS under chairship of India to convene a standalone meet of ministers of foreign affairs and international relations. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will chair the meet via video conferencing this evening. IMD updates forecast for 2021 southwest monsoon rainfall over India. Southwest monsoon seasonal from June to September. Rainfall is likely to be normal. IMD predicts rainfall to be 101% of the long period average. In sports, India shines at Asian Boxing Championship. 19-member contingent wins its highest ever tally of 15 medals. That includes 2 gold, 5 silver and 8 bronze. Japanese tennis star Naomi Osaka withdraws from the French Open over media interaction controversy. She was warned of expulsion for deciding not to speak to media, citing mental health issues. And Copa America will take place in Brazil next month, announces the South American Football Confederation. As pandemic hit, Argentina withdraws from hosting the tournament. And let's now look at the big news at this hour. Let's talk about the pandemic. India reported 1.27 lakh daily new cases in the last 24 hours. This is the lowest figure in about 54 days. The country's active COVID caseload further declined to 18,95,520. It's below 20 lakh after nearly 43 days. Active cases have decreased by 1,30,572 in the last 24 hours. Recoveries, meanwhile, continue to outnumber daily new COVID cases for 19th consecutive day. In the last 24 hours, 2,55,287 patients have recovered from COVID-19. A total of 2,59,47,629 patients have recovered across the country so far. The recovery rate continues to increase as well at just over 92% as of today. Weekly positivity rate currently stands at 8.64%, while the daily positivity rate dipped to 6.62%. That's less than 10% now for the 8th consecutive day. So the latest data, the cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country has now exceeded 21.60 crores. Over 17 crore 12 lakh beneficiaries have been given the first dose of the jab so far, while over 4 crore 48 lakh beneficiaries were given the second dose. Cumulatively, total Over 27,80,000 vaccine doses were given yesterday, out of which over 24,79,000 beneficiaries received the first dose on May 31st, and over 3 lakh beneficiaries received the second dose of the vaccine in the past 24 hours. Now, more than 23 crore vaccine doses have been provided to states and union territories. More than 1.57 crore doses are still available for states and union territories to be administered to the beneficiaries. From vaccination, let's talk about testing. Testing for COVID-19 has been ramped up in the country. As per the Indian Council of Medical Research, that's ICMR, 19,25,374 samples have been tested as on Monday. So far, a total of 34,67,92,257 samples have been tested for COVID-19 so far till date in India. And those are the latest testing data that you're looking on your screen. Now, an important update coming in from WHO. World Health Organization has come out with the new simplified coronavirus naming system, nomenclature system, in a bid to address the widespread confusion in this regard as to which variant originated from where. WHO has settled on letters of the Greek alphabet to refer to the various variants discovered in different parts of the world since the beginning of COVID pandemic. And next, we'll take a look at what the WHO has said and the manner in which the variants have been named. First, we have to understand there are two types of variants which are commonly at place that WHO has identified. One is called variant of concern, the other is called variant of interest. Now, the variant of concern is the one that is more worrisome. It spreads faster. It also shows a certain resistance to test, to treatment in the hospitals, and also to vaccination. So that's the variant of concern. Variant of interest is a variant that is identified as a COVID virus. It shows its transmissibility in a local area. It is still prevalent as COVID, but not as serious as a variant of concern. When variant of interest shows those worrisome feature that it shows resistance to treatment, that it spreads faster, not just within the local landscape, but also across countries, that's when variant of interest becomes a variant of concern. Now, let us look at the manner in which nomenclature has happened by WHO to name different variants. So, we're looking at variant of concern first, the ones which are more serious and worrisome. So, on that side is WHO label, the names given to the variant, and this is where those variants were first detected in the country. So, the idea is also to not associate the variant with the country. The one that was detected in the United Kingdom of September of 2020 is named as Alpha. The variant detected in South Africa in May of 2020 is called Beta. These are nomenclatures given by WHO. The one detected in Brazil in November of 2020 is called Gamma. And the one that was detected in India in October of 2020 is called Delta. So these are the way in which the variant of concerns, the different variants, have been named through Greek alphabet by WHO. Let's move on to the next slide now. We'll look at the variants of interest and the manner in which they have been named. So they've also been given in the tabulated fashion. So the variant that was discovered in the United States in March of 2020, really around the beginning of the pandemic, when America faced the first wave, is called Epsilon. The one detected in Brazil of April of 2020 is called Zeta. Multiple countries, the variant that was discovered in December of 2020, spotted in different countries, and the origin was not known as such, is called Eta. The one discovered in Philippines in January of 2020 is called Theta. Again, another variant that was discovered in the United States in November of 2020 last year is referred to as Iota. These are the names by which these variants of viruses will be known as. And the one that was the second variant that was discovered in India in October of 2020 is known as Kappa. So those are the names given to the different variants of COVID virus that have originated in different parts of the country. Let's move on to the next point as to why these new names have been given. The first point, of course, is to simplify the public discourse. There are very complex scientific names, and also there are misunderstandings where the country of origin is almost associated with the variant, and that causes a lot of concern and issues and confusion. So to make all of that simple names will be now given, those Greek alphabets, against every variant that has come into being. Then the idea is also to remove stigma from emergence of a new variant. Just because a variant emerges out of a particular country does not mean that the country be blamed or be named as sort of originator and creator of the virus. So just to uphold the sort of technicality of the virus identification, a fresh name has been given from Greek alphabet that has no association with the name of the country. Moving on, countries now that the stigma part is removed from the nomenclature, countries are expected to be now more willing to report new mutations as and when they discover it, because it has nothing to do with the country per se. It has to be dealt with in a scientific manner and also named it accordingly. Although these new Greek names have been given, but the existing scientific names of the virus for lab procedures, identification and research, those scientific names will stay. The Greek nomenclature is for common public discourse, for ease of understanding. So those were some of the key reasons why this new nomenclature has been introduced by WHO. We're heading for a short break. Lots more coming up in Midday Prime. Stay with us.
Your window to rising India. India's voice on global platforms. Latest news from India and around the world. In-depth analysis of global headlines. Watch DD India in your country. Available for downlink in all Southeast Asian countries. STTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 17 at 93.5 degrees east. HDTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 10 at 83 degrees east. For technical details, scan here. Switch to DD India now.
Welcome back. You're watching Midday Prime. We continue with our coverage of the pandemic. Now, many states and union territories are gradually relaxing lockdown rules in the country after the declining trend in the new COVID-19 cases. In Madhya Pradesh, residents have got some relief from the stringent lockdown. However, Corona curfew is in place till 15th of June with some relaxed restrictions. COVID-19 phased unlocking process in Uttar Pradesh is also beginning in 55 districts from today, from where active cases of COVID have dropped below 600. However, the weekend curfew and night curfew across the state will continue. Stricter curfew regulations will be imposed in another 20 districts, which still have more than the minimum threshold of active cases still. Meanwhile, in Himachal Pradesh, process of easing COVID-19 lockdown is underway. However, the state government has said that there will be gradual opening of activities as there are high fatality rates in Kangra, Solan, Sirmaur, Una and Shimla. Now, with COVID-19 cases on a steady decline, non-essential shops functioning between 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. on alternate days from Monday to Friday for 15 days. Relaxing of stricter lockdown like curbs. These are updates coming in from Maharashtra. BMC permitted distribution of non-essential items along with essential ones under e-commerce. In Jammu and Kashmir, markets reopened as process of partial unlock started in the Union Territory. Shops have been allowed to open on alternate days for now. In Andhra Pradesh, state government has extended curfew till 10th of June. Curfew rules will remain in force as before. In Uttarakhand, the statewide COVID-19 lockdown has been extended till 8th of June. However, grocery services are allowed to open for 2 days a week from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Shops of books, stationery will also be opened for a day in a week only. Moving on, the Defence Research and Development Organization DRDO has shared direction for the use of the 2DG medicine that was approved by the Drugs Controller General of India. Earlier, the direction for the use of 2DG medicine includes the following guidelines: emergency use as adjunct therapy to standard of care in COVID patients being treated in hospital, prescribed for moderate to severe COVID patients for maximum of up to 10 days. Caution should be exercised for patients with uncontrolled diabetes, severe cardiac problem, acute respiratory distress syndrome, that's also referred to as ARDS, severe hepatic and renal impairment, not to be given to pregnant and lactating women and patients below 18 years of age, and to contact Dr. Reddy's Lab, Hyderabad, for medicine supply at 2dg@drreddys.com. Now, as India's vaccination rollout against COVID-19 pandemic is underway, the largest commercial consignment of Sputnik vaccine arrived in Hyderabad earlier this morning, with some 3 million doses delivered to Dr. Reddy's Lab. The vaccines will later be sent to different parts of the country as per the demands raised by the state governments. And after Covishield and Covaxin, Sputnik will become the third COVID-19 vaccine that will be administered to the people in large scale. The Drugs Controller General of India had granted permission for restricted emergency use of Sputnik with certain conditions. Developers of the jab are expected to supply a total of some 18 million doses over the next couple of months. Let's get some update from the grounds as well. Our correspondents are reporting from different parts of the country. Meghna is connecting with us from Delhi, and Shrikant is joining us from Bhopal. Meghna, if I can come to you first, we were just talking about how the unlock phase has started in the national capital. How is the unlock going to unfold? If you can give us the details of that first.
Yes, absolutely, Shubhendu. As we have seen that the unlock has started, especially in a phased manner in several states as well, and especially in Delhi, when we have seen that the manufacturing and construction work has been given permission to resume back. We can definitely see that after June 7, when the lockdown has been extended till June 7, after that also we can see some more businesses opening in a phased manner. But these businesses like manufacturing and the construction work which have been given, they have also been given permission under very strict COVID guidelines, and not only in Delhi but also in Haryana there are restrictions there, but the shops have been now allowed to open from 9 AM till 3 PM, and also there were some shops opening from odd even basis and on different hours like 7 AM to 12. So the timings have to be decided, and after that a phased lockdown is to be done. And several other states also, if you can see, in Odisha the lockdown is there till June 17. In Gujarat the relaxation has been given in the night curfew, and also shops have been allowed to open from 9 AM till 3 PM. So different types of mechanism is being accepted by different states. An autonomous decision is being taken. The states have that autonomy to decide in what manner they are going to be opening for business, because business activities have to be resumed now, because we have had a long lockdown in that sense, in a very restricted lockdown, but some restricted relaxations are being given, be it the weekend curfew or the night curfews as well. So in Delhi also we can see after June 7th some more respite can be given, especially for the business sector, so that the economy can be back on track. And also in places around, even in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar or Jharkhand, where the lockdown is there till June 3. After that we can see that some places so that to bring the business back on track, some relaxations might be given, and we can see those very soon, right, because the lockdown is there only till June 3, June 7, June 10, June 15 or 17. Right. So in the mid of June we might see businesses running back on track in some states.
Right, Meghna, fresh guidelines have come for the 2DG medicine by DRDO. If you could give us an update on the effectiveness and availability of this medication in the times of the pandemic crisis.
definitely a very game-changer medicine by the DRDO, the Institute of Nuclear Medicine and Allied Sciences has developed it. But the directions by the Drug Controller General of India comes very handy and very timely, because you know the 2DG drug is just in a powder form. It is just like how you drink glucose. You have to dissolve it in water and you can administer it. The administration is very easy for this drug. So what the DCGI has told is that you have to administer this drug only in hospital settings, and it is to be used for moderate to severe COVID patients and prescribed very early. So prescribing this drug very early will come in very handy, because it actually accumulates in the cell which is infected by the virus, and after that it stops the viral synthesis and also it stops the energy production. So definitely decreasing a patient's dependence on supplemental oxygen. So definitely prescribing this medicine early as possible, which has been directed by the DCGI, is very important. But also caution is to be practiced when we are dealing with renal impairment patients, uncontrolled diabetes patients, severe cardiac patients. So caution is to be applied there as well, because it is a very handy medicine, but only to be given in hospital settings. This comes across very timely, because it is just an analog of glucose. This sachet is just an analog of glucose, a molecule which has to be dissolved in water and can be taken, and just because it is an analog of glucose, it can be produced in large quantities. So this drug, when administered at the right time, prescribed early, but the maximum dose has to be of 10 days. That has been said by the DCGI. A very game-changing medicine, but definitely these directives have to be abided by, because these are very crucial directives that has been laid out by the DCGI.
Right. Meghna, do stay with us while we get some updates from Madhya Pradesh as well. Srikanth is connected with us from Bhopal. Srikanth, what is the pandemic situation on the ground in Madhya Pradesh, and how is the unlock plan going to unfold?
Thank you, Shubhendu. Well, the situation has improved considerably here in Madhya Pradesh since the month of April, where we were seeing positivity rates of up to 23 to 24%. Now the positivity rate here has come down to 1.6%. And out of the 52 districts which are there in the state, 47 districts have less than 5% positivity rates. Out of these 47, there are about 12 districts who have less than 1% of positivity rate. So that's why the government is now going for a phased lockdown, as in like you rightly mentioned earlier, the corona curfew will still be in place till the 15th of June. But there will be partial relaxation given, in some areas, so as to, restart the economic activity to some extent. And the essential services which they will be restarted again, as in kirana stores, standalone grocery shops in the colonies, all kinds of service providers, essential service providers, plumbers, electricians, carpenters. These are the people, who really need to get out, for their livelihood and all the other things. So the government is, taking it step by step. And what I would also like to mention is the government has formed these crisis management committees in each of the districts. Now, these committees are comprised of, prominent members from all walks of life in the district. So they may be advocates, doctors. So these committees have been given the power to, once if the positivity rate starts to rise again, then they have the power to, again, impose corona curfew or lockdown-like conditions. So what we can say is the government is moving ahead with caution, however. And the vaccination drive is also being, tried to intensify. The majority of the 45+ population has been covered. Some of the issues which were there in procurement of vaccines for the 18 to 44 group, they are also being worked on upon. And the government is going all out, to try and cover more and more of the 18 to 44 group into vaccination.
All right. Meghna, also talking about vaccination, one of the biggest consignments of Sputnik vaccine arrives in the country. That is going to be a big boost for the vaccination drive across the country.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Shubhendu, when we see about if it is approximately 56.6 tons that has the consignment that has arrived in Hyderabad, and the GMR Hyderabad Air Cargo has been able to handle such a huge consignment because they had been preparing for it, because in the future they might have to handle billions of doses in the next couple of years, if you can say, billions of doses of vaccines there. And there are several manufacturers also around Hyderabad who are going to manufacture the Sputnik V vaccine. So definitely this comes very important important. There are 3 million vaccines, and not only that, the vaccines have arrived, but also the substance, the bulk substance, which will have to get a fill finish in different pharmacy companies. They can be bottled there. So that bulk substance has also arrived, and that bulk substance is expected to arrive again also, so that the bulk finish can be done. Very crucial, very important thing is also that the cold chain has to be maintained, because Sputnik V, as they say, it's the temperature has to be maintained at -20 degrees Celsius. So a cold chain has to be built for offloading and then uploading it on any other aircraft if it has to be sent somewhere else. Right. So and also GHAC, the air cargo, has been able to make a specific dedicated pharma zone, a kind of a terminal, which is India's first such terminal, which is able to handle such kind of pharma cargo, and in a huge quantity as well. Because if we talk about 3 million vaccines, 3 million doses, it is a huge amount. 56.6 tons is a huge amount that has been handled. And again, also such consignments are expected to come, because when we talk about the vaccine transportation, not only they're expected to come, several vaccines have to be transported not only to the center but also to the different states. So such kind of mechanism that has been built at the GHAC is going to be very crucial and will come in very handy when we talk about proper transportation, proper handling of these vaccine doses.
Right there, Meghna, Srikanth, thanks very much for joining us with those updates. Moving on, the central government has recently announced that it would be providing many facilities, including pension to the dependents of those who have lost their lives due to the coronavirus pandemic. Along with pensions for dependents, the government has also ensured increased liberalized insurance compensation for families or dependents of those affected by virus. Speaking about this facility, Secretary of Ministry of Labour and Employment, Apurva Chandra, said the pension scheme of Employee State Insurance Corporation is being extended to those who've died due to the epidemic.
A very new scheme from the Employee State Insurance Corporation, which has about 3.5 crore workers on its rolls, that 90% of the last pay drawn would be paid to the dependent, that is the dependent wife or mother or the children, the son or unmarried daughters. For the wife and mother, till they are alive, this pension would be given. For the son, till he attains the age of 25, and or for a daughter till she gets married. These rules are already there, but then this is a very, very big benefit, because they will continue to draw the same salary for the period of their life, which gives a huge economic support to them in the time of their need.
And India remains fully committed to the cause of protecting and implementation of comprehensive strategic partnership with Australia. In a series of tweets, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has said both sides look forward to convening the ministerial 2+2 dialogue at the earliest opportunity. Says it is heartening to note that Australian armed forces have wholeheartedly supported India in its fight against COVID-19. He says spoke to Australian Minister for Defence, Mr. Peter Dutton, about the measures taken by both the countries to fight against COVID-19 pandemic. India and Australia share a warm and people-to-people contact underpinned by a strategic partnership. Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan inaugurated a 270-bed COVID care centre at Jindal Steel and Power Plant in Angul in the state of Odisha. And Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath took stock of the COVID vaccination drive that is underway at the KD Singh Babu Stadium in Lucknow. From today, all citizens aged over 18 years are being administered vaccine free of cost across 75 district headquarters in the state. After taking stock of vaccination rollout, Chief Minister said that till now over 1 crore 83 lakh people have been given a vaccination in the state, and the target is to vaccinate 90 lakh to 1 crore people in the month of June. A special campaign is underway for providing vaccination for 18 to 44 years of age and also old age group. For this, 2100 centers have been set up across Uttar Pradesh.
मैं अब तक 1 करोड़ 83 लाख से अधिक लोगों को हम लोगों ने वैक्सीन दिया है। अकेले जून महीने में हम लोगों का लक्ष्य है कि हम 90 से 1 करोड़ लोगों को वैक्सीन देंगे। सभी युवाओं को वैक्सीन उपलब्ध कराने के लिए प्रदेश के सभी 75 जनपदों में एक विशेष अभियान चल रहा है। इसके लिए हम लोगों ने 2100 बूथ पूरे प्रदेश में स्थापित किए हैं। 45 प्लस के 3000 से अधिक बूथ पूरे प्रदेश में हमारे संचालित हो रहे हैं।
Let's now move on to our developing story. External Affairs Minister of India Dr. S. Shankar will today chair the meeting of BRICS Foreign Ministers through video conferencing. The theme for BRICS meet under India's chairship is BRICS at 15, India-BRICS intra-BRICS cooperation for continuity, consolidation and consensus. The 13th BRICS summit will be held under India's chairship. It will be the third time that India will be hosting the BRICS summit. This is after 2012 and 2016. Post-COVID economic recovery, strengthening of multilateral system to make it more effective and further enhancing cooperation amongst BRICS nations will be key items on the agenda of the group's foreign ministers meeting. The foreign ministers are also likely to discuss the need for reforming the multilateral system and ways to enhance cooperation in countering the common challenge of terrorism. Those are the updates coming in from the BRICS meeting, the 13th edition of the BRICS meeting, the third time that India will be hosting the BRICS summit after 2012 and 2016. Various key issues in focus, from handling the pandemic challenge to handling the challenge of terrorism. The leaders will be deliberating on issues to make a common coordinated response to the challenges faced by the world. Now, my colleague Abhishek Jha is joining us for more updates on the upcoming BRICS summit. Abhishek, take us through the importance of India's chairship of this edition of BRICS summit, and what are the key expectations? We saw the focus areas, but key expectations of the nations from the summit.
So, of course, Shubhendu, as we know that the crisis, currently the world is facing, has been more centered around this COVID pandemic. So we can expect that there will be discussions and deliberation on to how to deal with this whole pandemic in a more collective and collaborative way. Remember, as a BRICS nation, this whole institutions have the responsibility for almost 41% of the population of the entire world. 24% of this GDP of the world is also situated around in these five nations. So not only the healthcare infrastructure and ramping up the overall vaccination drive across these countries and other parts, but also how to deal with the cascading effect of the economic crisis that has come in the wake of COVID can be one of the discussion area. Besides, India as a chair of BRICS has also has been highlighting this need to define and act upon in a more robust manner against all form and manifestation of terrorism. When we talk about terrorism, of course, there is a wheel suggestion towards Pakistan, because Pakistan is the one country which India has regularly and with substantive proof has said that Pakistan has been harboring the terrorists for long, and Pakistan has been one nation who's been responsible for the terrorist activities in this entire region. China, being the one key ally and friend and also influencer of Pakistan, is a country during which discussion one can expect that China would be pressurized in a way to deal with certain terrorist activities of Pakistan and to influence Pakistan in a way that Pakistan stops supporting and abetting terrorists and terrorist activities and individuals who have been linked with this whole terror nexus. This is one reason. Also, the multilateral organizations across the globe, especially those who have been very reputed, like WHO, United Nations, World Trade Organization, these have been long pending. There have been long pending reforms in this organization, and now with the current economic scenario across the globe and the geopolitical scenario across the globe, India has always highlighted that these organizations do not reflect the current realities of the world. So how to go about it? What are the reforms that are needed, and how bigger countries, especially India, can have more, strong representation and presence in these organizations. This is also one issue, one area where India is going to focus on this BRICS summit.
Right there, Abhishek. Thanks very much for joining us with the highlights of the upcoming BRICS summit. Now, moving on to our National Prime segment. The weather has taken a turn once again in the northern parts of the country. Several states of North India, including Delhi NCR, received moderate to heavy intensity rains late last night, accompanied by dust storm and thunder squall. Some parts of Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh also experienced a similar turn of weather. Thunderstorm with lightning and gusty winds with speed reaching 30 to 40 kilometers per hour are very likely at isolated places over West Rajasthan today. Heavy to very heavy rainfall is also likely at isolated places, very likely over Assam and Meghalaya. Now, according to the Met Department, the capital may receive light rainfall on 2nd and 3rd of June as well. The onset of southwest monsoon is likely to take place on June 3rd. And India's Met Department today, in fact, updated its forecast for 2021 southwest monsoon rainfall over the country. According to the Weather Department, the southwest monsoon, seasonal from June to September rainfall, is likely to be normal. The rainfall over the country as a whole is likely to be 101%. As per the IMD, southwest monsoon seasonal rainfall over the monsoon core zone, which comprises most of rain-fed agriculture regions in the country, is most likely to be above normal. Seasonal rainfall is also most likely to be normal over northwest of India, above normal over central India, and below normal over northeast India during the monsoons. Most parts of the country expected to receive normal to above normal rains during the season. And now also our correspondent Tapo spoke to Mrityunjay Mahapatra, DG IMD, to get more details.
Joining me is Director General of IMD, Dr. M. Mahapatra, to talk about the long forecasting of the monsoon that is expected. And let's talk about it. And sir, what can we expect about this LPA monsoon? Is it going to be normal or is it going to be above normal?
As for the second stage monsoon forecast issued today, rainfall for the country as a whole is likely to be normal. We say it normal when it lies between 96% to 104% of the long period average. The rainfall for the country as a whole during June to September is expected to be 101% of long period average, with model error of plus minus 4%.
Sir, now we're talking about the few areas, especially northwest India, northeast India. There are different, LPA that has been given. Can you explain us what are the different LPAs for these four places?
If you consider different homogeneous regions like northwest India, northeast India, central India, and south peninsular India, we are expecting above normal rainfall activity over central India, which extends from Odisha to Maharashtra and Gujarat. We are expecting normal rainfall activity over northwest India and south peninsular India. The rainfall activity is expected to have a below normal probability over northeast India, which includes some parts of Bihar, West Bengal, Assam, and Meghalaya especially.
When can we expect the next LPA for July?
Today we have also issued as a new initiative the forecast of rainfall for the month of June. As for this forecast, we are expecting normal monsoon rainfall activity during June over the country as a whole, and especially over the east central India and adjoining peninsular and northeast India is expected to have normal to above normal rainfall activity.
When can we expect the monsoon to hit the Indian coast, and for northwest India, for Delhi especially, when can they expect monsoon showers in the national capital?
Delhi is far away now from the monsoon. So at first it should reach Kerala. And normal date for onset of monsoon for Kerala is 1st June, but it has been slightly delayed. We are expecting it around 3rd June. Since we are expecting a good monsoon condition, so we can expect the normal advance of a monsoon. So therefore, we will be monitoring the advance of monsoon, and from time to time, we will indicate the monsoon advance possibility over different parts.
Appreciate your time. So that was DG IMD M. Mahapatra giving us a brief about the monsoon's arrival in the country, expected to be on 3rd of June in Kerala. And it's a good news for all the agriculturists, all those farmers who are looking forward for an average and normal monsoon this year. With camera person Surendra, this is Taposh Bhattacharya, DD India, Delhi.
In Midday Prime, it's time now to take stock of news and updates coming in from the world of business and finance. And my colleague Tanvi brings us up to speed with all the details.
Thank you, Shubhendu. Well, in Business Prime news about the domestic stock markets first, the Indian equity indices have been swinging between small losses and gains in afternoon deals on Tuesday. So the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange had added 45 points to 51,983 a short while ago. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange had advanced just 5 points to 15,589. In the broader market, the BSE Mid-Cap Index had lost 0.2%, while the Small Cap Index had dropped 0.3%. The top index gainers are ONGC, Adani Ports, Bajaj Finance and SBI, which have climbed between 1.5% and 3%. The top index losers so far are Tata Steel, JSW Steel, Grasim and ICICI Bank, with losses of between 1.5% and 2.9%. In other key Asian markets, MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan edged up 0.4%, hitting the highest in a month. South Korea's stocks rose as data showed that the country's exports logged their sharpest expansion in 32 years in May. But Japan's Nikkei index fell as data showed that companies cut spending on plant and equipment for the fourth straight quarter. China's key stock index also lost ground. Back home at the interbank foreign exchange market, the rupee had appreciated 8 paise against the US dollar in early trade on Tuesday. But later, the rupee gave up all its early gains and had depreciated 17 paise to 72 rupees 78 paise against the dollar in afternoon deals a short while ago. At the multi-commodity exchange, gold had gained 300 rupees to 49,121 rupees per 10 grams. Silver had surged 1,175 rupees to 73,073 rupees per kilo. And global crude oil climbed on Tuesday as optimism grew over the fuel demand outlook during the summer driving season of the United States, the world's top oil consumer. Prices were also boosted after data from China showed that factory activity expanded at its fastest this year in May. So Brent crude oil gained 94 cents or 1.4% to $70.26 a barrel, and US crude rose $1.34 or 2% to $67.66 a barrel. So that's it in Business Prime for the moment. Back to you, Shubhendu.
Thank you, Tanvi, for joining us with those updates. Let's now find out what's making news across the world. A look at the COVID-19 updates from across the globe first. The world continues to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. So far, over 17 crore, 14 lakh people have tested positive for coronavirus globally. The number of recoveries stand more than 15 crore, 38 lakhs. As many as 35 lakh 65,000 people have died worldwide due to COVID-19. United States continues to register maximum number of COVID-19 cases in the world. More than 3 crore, 41 lakh people have been tested for coronavirus in the US, while the deaths so far because of the virus stand at 6 lakh 9,000 in the United States. That's the latest data coming in from across the world in the battle with the pandemic. Moving on, Serena, a city in southeastern Brazilian city of Sao Paulo, has seen a 95% decline in COVID-19 casualties after it concluded vaccination of almost all adults. The number of symptomatic cases fell to 80% and hospitalization 86% in Serena, that had 45,000 inhabitants, with more than 4,62,000 casualties so far. Brazil has the world's second deadliest outbreak. The country has now very slow immunization pace due to lack of vaccines. Serena is surrounded by cities that are still dealing with a spike in COVID cases. And Peru has been amongst the hardest hit Latin American countries during the COVID-19 pandemic, with its hospitals overcrowded with patients and demand for oxygen outstripping its availability. On Monday, the country almost tripled its official COVID-19 casualty toll to 1,80,764 following a government review, making it the country with the worst death rate per capita, according to Johns Hopkins University data. And Turkey on Monday further eased measures meant to restrict the spread of COVID-19. Weekend lockdown in the country has been partially lifted and restaurants have been open to a limited number of guests. President Tayyip Erdogan said lighter measures in response to the falling cases would go into effect from today. Under the new rules, nationwide daily curfews are delayed by an hour to 10 p.m. now. All social restrictions that were lifted in March, but President later backtracked in April when daily cases soared above 60,000. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen delivered a virtual speech at the 2021 Partnering for Green Growth and Global Goals 2030 or P4G summit. In her address, she said 2020 is the make or break decade in the path towards becoming climate neutral. The European Union's new target is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by at least 55% by 2030 from 1990 levels. The goal is more ambitious than the previous plan for a 40% cut.
Europe aims to be the first climate neutral continent by 2050. We set out on this journey already in 2019. Today, many countries around the globe are in an exciting race to zero. And I was delighted that you, President Moon, announced that Korea is also aiming to be climate neutral by 2050. Even though the finish line is 30 years away, the race starts now. The 2020s is the make or break decade. And that's why Europe has committed to reduce our emissions by at least 55% by 2030 compared to 1990 levels.
Time now to get all the action from the world of sports. And my colleague Suchitra brings us the updates.
Thank you, Shubhendu. Let's start with some good news from the world of boxing. In the Asian Boxing Championship, the 19-member Indian contingent concluded their campaign with highest ever 15 medals, including 2 golds, 5 silver and 8 bronze. Indian boxer Sanjeet put up a solid show against the 3-time Asian champion Vasily Levitt in the men's 91 kg final to hand country its second gold at the championship on Monday. Sanjeet managed a convincing 4-1 victory against the Rio Olympic silver medalist.
हम यहाँ दुबई में बॉक्सिंग चैंपियनशिप के लिए आए थे और यहाँ मैंने गोल्ड मेडल जीता है और यहाँ मैंने फाइनल्स में कजाक के ओलंपिक सिल्वर मेडलिस्ट को हराया है और ये मेरा फर्स्ट टूर्नामेंट है इंजरी के बाद, मेजर इंजरी के बाद, और मुझे बहुत अच्छा महसूस हो रहा है कि मैंने ओलंपिक के सिल्वर मेडलिस्ट को हराया है और मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूँ साई का, BFI का, आर्मी का और JSW का.
On the other hand, Amit Panghal and Shiva Thapa ended their silver after suffering defeats in their respective finals. Japanese tennis star Naomi Osaka has withdrawn from French Open over media interaction controversy. She was warned of expulsion for deciding not to speak to media, citing mental health issues. Announcing her decision through a tweet, she informed of the long battle she had been fighting since US Open in 2018. Apart from being fined $15,000 for not interacting with media post her first round win, she was also warned getting banned from future matches for not following the media obligations. The French Tennis Federation, organizers of the French Open, called Osaka's withdrawal unfortunate. FFT President Gilles Moreton wished her a quick recovery.
First and foremost, we are sorry and sad for Naomi Osaka. The outcome of Naomi withdrawing from Roland Garros is unfortunate. We wish her the best and the quickest possible recovery. and we look forward to having Naomi in our tournament next year. As all the Grand Slams, the WTA, the ATA, the ATP, and the ITF, we remain very committed to all athletes' well-being and to continually improving every aspect of players' experience in our tournament, including with the media, like we have always strived to do.
Leading figures in tennis and sport rallied to support Naomi Osaka after she withdrew from the French Open in a row about post-match media duties. Her withdrawal triggered a wave of support from around the sporting world. Multiple Grand Slam winner Venus Williams posted on Instagram, "So proud of you, take care of yourself and see you back winning soon." Billie Jean King spoke about the importance of mental health. Japanese people in Tokyo said they were surprised and sympathetic about Naomi Osaka withdrawing from the French Open in a row about post-match media duties, saying she had been suffering from depression and anxiety. Some speculated the stress of COVID-19 may have also taken its toll.
正直びっくりしたっていうのが一番なんですけれども、でもやっぱりスポーツ選手にとって一番大切なのはやっぱ精神状況もやっぱり一番大切なのかなと思うので、その今まで休めなかった分しっかり休んで回復してほしいなと思います。
彼女が背負うものっていうのはもう自分だけのことじゃないんで、当然スポンサーなり、ね、マスコミなりファンなりもうすごい背中に背負ってやっていかなくちゃいけないと思うんですよね。それがトッププレーヤーの責務っていうか、そうなってしまった自分の責任をやっぱり全うしなくちゃいけないことになっちゃうと思うんですよね。
Now some on-court action. In French Open tennis, former world number 1 Serena Williams sailed through the first round, but not without a fight, as her opponent, Romania's Irina Camelia Begu, made her work hard in the first set. She won 7-6, 6-2. In men's action, former world number 1 Roger Federer defeated Denis Istomin of Uzbekistan 6-2, 6-4, 6-3 to reach the second round. South America's largest football tournament, the Copa America, was moved to Brazil after a COVID-19 surge in Argentina and social unrest in Colombia saw the co-host stripped of the right to host the event. With 2 weeks to kick off, South America's CONMEBOL Football Federation tweeted that the CONMEBOL Copa America 2021 will be played in Brazil and the June 13th to July 10th dates were maintained. Brazil hosted the last Copa America in 2019. Originally scheduled for last year, the Copa was postponed by 12 months due to the coronavirus pandemic. So those were some sports updates. Back to you, Shubhendu.
Thanks very much, Chitra, for joining us with those updates. Those were some of the highlights of the news and updates in Midday Prime today. We'll try and look at some important updates in our consequent later bulletins as well. As we leave, remember to follow all COVID-appropriate behavior, including wearing a mask at all times. Namaskar. And remember, today is 92nd birth anniversary, in fact, of legendary actress of Hindi cinema, Nargis ji. In an active Bollywood career that spanned for nearly 2 decades, Nargis delivered some of the most iconic characters of the Indian film industry. Her performance was not only loved by the fans, but also received critical acclaim. Before we conclude this edition of Midday Prime, in fact, we leave you with the immortal legacy of actress Nargis ji and her performances that continue to mesmerize audiences. Namaskar.
बनूं उड़ती फिरूं मस्त गगन में, आज मैं आजाद हूँ दुनिया के चमन में। पंछी बनूं उड़ती फिरूं मस्त गगन में, आज मैं आजाद हूँ दुनिया के चमन में।
प्यार हुआ इक़रार इकरार हुआ है, प्यार से फिर क्यों डरता है दिल। प्यार हुआ इकरार हुआ है, प्यार से फिर क्यों डरता है दिल।